Hello.
What up, though? What up, though?
How is everyone doing?
Blazing Soul podcast back in effect. Every Wednesday we are here. We're not going anywhere, so you might as well get used to it and tune in every Wednesday. This is Marcelo Robertson with my beautiful wife,
Nippapon, with the new look. I decided.
Anyway.
Can I tell my story?
Do
Okay. So, as you know, us women, we want to switch up a little bit. And as a hairstylist, you're like, oh, I want to try something different. My hair is thinning a little bit because it's the winter time. So I thought I would go and support a local beauty supply store and get a wig. So yes, this is a wig. I got this from Leslie Beauty Supply in Carpentersville, Illinois. So if you guys are in the area and want a nice, beautiful wig, it did look like it was thinner, less hair on the mannequin, but it's gonna get some getting used to, but it's keeping my head warm. It was kind of a cold day today, but go and see Miss Nadia at the beauty supply store. See?
And fellas, for my hair, I went to Marcelo's bedroom and bathroom.
They have the man wave now.
So I got mine done at Marcelo's bathroom. So check out Marcelo's bathroom, make an appointment. He'll hook you up. We get you a good style going on.
Yes.
That's just my two cents of the beauty aspect of this, this little thing right here. But let me take the time out to say congratulations to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. It does, regardless of your political views, it has been trying the last year, almost year and a half now. So to get a change, regardless of your political affiliation, should feel inspiring that, things are going to turn around. We have different thought processes that's kind of in charge of the country. So, whether you like Biden or not, you got to think that we needed a change. Things were not going in the correct direction. But I want to say especially big ups to Vice President Harris, because first
history has been made.
Black woman to hold that office. And it does, coming from a college background, it does my heart good to see her rep her sorority, aka the pearls. That's just that makes you think that this person knows the struggle and will uphold changing that struggle, because you kind of know her background when you see things like that. AKAs where when I went to school at fairs were very prominent in the community. They helped out. They did charity events and food drives and stuff like that. So to see that someone that comes from that background made it all the way to VP of the nation.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's heartwarming.
Celebration.
No doubt. So big ups to Vice President Harris, along with all the AKAs out there, because I've seen y'all on Facebook. I was making it known that y'all are champion and backing Kamala to the utmost. So that did my heart good, without a doubt.
Definitely.
Keeping on that note, our guest today is family, first of all. So let me get that out the way. Full disclaimer. But this person has been a teacher, a person to give knowledge for the last 15, 20 years, somewhere around there. Also coaches volleyball, and also
Badminton?
No,
volleyball. Oh, okay.
I think volleyball. Yeah, volleyball. And then on top of that, spends her additional time basically running an organization about multicultural diversity. So, for a person to give, because we all know teachers don't get paid what they're supposed to get paid. We know they come out of their own pockets to kind of make things work, so to speak. So for a person in her normal 9 to 5 to be devoted to her students, for her to take her off time and also coach. And then on top of everything else, you run a multicultural diversity organization that is a full nonprofit. I mean, you got to give props where props is due.
Awesome.
So go ahead and introduce me.
So amazing. We are happy to present to you tonight Miss Lisa Luangsomkham. Welcome, welcome.
I couldn't do that.
Yes, you can. Try it. Try it.
Lisa.
Hello, hello.
Hi, hello. Thank you for the nice introduction there.
Yes, ma'am.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. It's much. It's well deserved, without a doubt. For you to, you know, in your 9 to 5, you know, educate our youth, and then afterwards,
high school students at that.
Yes, and then to teach them the art of competition and everything that comes along with sports. And then when you finally get home and sit down, you are working, you know, feverishly for the multicultural diversity organization that you have. You can do nothing but give props to that.
And running a household.
Oh yeah, plus you got a
full house.
Full house. You over there like us, a full house.
Yes.
It's all good. It's all good. Everything that I do, I love. I feel like none of it's really work, you know, whether it's, you know, my teaching job, my coaching, my extracurricular, or just, you know, doing MEG, Multicultural Education Group. I feel like none of that is really like burdensome, because obviously I wouldn't be involved in any of those things if I didn't enjoy it. So passion, I think, is like number one. And then just being around, you know, great people helps out a lot. Of course, you know, everything I do, if I didn't have an amazing like assistant coach or amazing team or an amazing family or, you know, my multicultural family, I wouldn't have lasted this long. So I feel like I've just been blessed with great people around me, you know, because I love them, and that's why I think I keep thriving and keep going, because there's so many amazing people I'm surrounded with. So that's really, it's really easy for me. I'm not joking. Like the things that I do, and you guys all know I live in Joliet. I drive like an hour to the area like 2-3 times a week, because it's okay, you know, because to me it's really not work. It's also visiting family like you guys and everybody else. So I really truly do enjoy everything that I do, and I want to say thank you for, you know, allow me to be on the show, and then, you know, share the things that I do, and hopefully that can inspire people too, that, you know, nothing is too hard. If you really want to do it, it can happen.
Definitely.
Your words are never spoken. Yeah, I mean, it's always said that the best job is one where you don't consider it a job. So
you're passionate.
Yeah, in that aspect, I do agree with you. So let's educate the people first off. That was a very condensed version of the things that you currently do. So let's start with what you're doing now. So what do you teach?
Okay. All right. Well, currently I teach seniors at Joliet Central High School right here in Joliet. I live in Joliet. I didn't really stray far from it. This is my hometown. Really love where I live. So I teach economics currently right now, and AP US Government and Politics. Both are required courses for my district, and I just feel blessed to teach those two courses anyways, because number one, you got to understand government, and you have to understand economics. So my goal as a teacher is to make sure that my students are, you know, knowledgeable and productive citizens, you know, because if they don't have that background of how government works or how the economy works or understanding how money works, how are they going to survive? So I feel like my courses are more like life skills too. So right now we're actually working in my economics class an entrepreneur project. So they're creating a business. So I just introduced that project today, and I'm super excited to see what they're going to share. And a lot of it is like just hyping it up, you know, because I think some people feel that high school teaching is hard. It's not. You know, these kids just need some guidance, and you as a teacher just need to really sell it to them and let them know how important the courses are. So I have to admit, you know, my students are amazing, and it's easy for me to sell, you know, government and teaching government, because who wouldn't want to know about how our U.S. democracy works, you know, the institutions of government, understanding the legislative, judicial branch. And with all that's happening, you know, with the big election of 2020, they need to understand how the electoral college works. Because I mean, it's not, we're in a republic. You know, a lot of people don't understand. We're not a direct democracy. You and I do not go to DC to make laws. We elect people to represent us. And our founding fathers, the framers of the Constitution, did not trust the people. Okay, so we have the electoral college system. I'm going to keep it real. I teach it like that. They did not trust the people because, you know, back then, you know, educating the public was not that easy. So the common man were mostly farmers, you know, people that were not, you know, highly educated. So really the electoral college is like a check on the people. That's what I tell them. And I don't know if you guys know this either, but the election of senators, you know, prior to the 17th Amendment, that was a check on the people. State legislatures chose the 2 senators from each state, but now we actually directly elect senators. So we live in a representative democracy, and people don't understand that. We have people that, you know, really make decisions for us.
Right.
So people like there's just teaching them that, but yet their vote matters, you know, because like the local state election, that, you know, our vote directly counts. But when it comes to the presidency, that's straight up like indirect, you know, election pretty much. So it's just those little things that teach. I get excited teaching that to the kids, and the kids get excited. They're like, oh, okay, you know, because ultimately, and you want them to be educated because there's no denying, you know, you follow social media. There's so many people that are looking at unreliable resources and making up facts, you know, and it is frustrating for me as a teacher to see those things. But, you know, I never make comments because, you know, at least they're passionate, because ultimately, and this is me, I'm always optimistic. At least they're passionate about what's going on, because for a long time in, you know, the US, people did not care about politics. People did not care about government. So to see like the passion now, whether it's sometimes maybe not the right, you know, direction, I just like interested. So I'm excited about that, you know. So yeah, government economics, that's what I teach right now. I love it. Badminton, I actually coach badminton, not volleyball. I do love volleyball. I've been coaching badminton for over, you know, 10 years. I've played when I was in high school. So honestly, I felt like I never graduated high school. So I feel like I have the best kind of like life ever. Like I'm still living the high school schedule and life, you know. It's on hold right now. Will County is Region 7, and we are still in Tier 3 mitigation. So all of our activities are on pause right now. I know like some of my, you know, competitors from the other school districts, they're ready to go on Monday practice. So I'm kind of sad about it, you know, that I can't practice with my athletes yet, but it's okay, you know, because safety first, because we still are at like 12%, I think, or 8, one of those, like it's still high, you know, but I know you guys are like at Tier 2 already, we're at still Tier 3, so I can't do that. So, and my clubs too, like human relations, actually a diversity club too, and we've been able to meet virtually doing that one, but like my Motto UN, and my Row Kappa, I haven't been able to roll that out, because those are the other clubs that I am involved in. So I walk the talk, you know, because I tell my students to be involved. And then I myself, as a teacher, even though I've been teaching 20 years, I'm still involved, because you got to love what you do, you know, so you can't just tell the kids like, get involved. And then you work a 8 to 3 job and you just go home. And then the kids are like, okay, you don't even care. So why should I care? So I let them know like, hey, I do what you do too, you know? So, so that's that's what used to keep me busy. Now with the virtual learning, you know, environment, I do have more free time. So what I do now is, you know, I meet on Fridays with my human relations, but other than that, you know, I'm really done teaching by noon, have lunch, check emails, respond to students that need help. We do office hours, and then I'm free, which is really rare. For the first time ever, you know, in my life, I have nothing to do, like in terms of events, you know, like my daughter plays basketball, cross country, like I coach, I host events or things that I can't do nothing. So I focus on, I think, my health now, you know, so I've never really had a chance to focus on myself. So finally I'm focusing on my health and my fitness, you know, even though I coach, I don't do those things. You just coach, you know what I mean? Do this, do that. But now I'm actively, you know, physically active. So that's what I've been doing a lot, you know, from pretty much 3 to like 8. So like prior to being on this, you know, I actually ran 5 miles already outside so I can knock it out. Normally I run about this time, 7 o'clock, but I had to do it earlier so I could be with you guys. So, and then, you know, we meet virtually for MEG. That's like once a month right now. Before we met a little bit more. So that's how I've been keeping busy, you know, doing those things. Of course, my family's always here. We do our thing too. But You asked what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now, Marcella.
Wow.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So we're getting is the viewers, can you guys hear us okay? It sounds like I see a message that our audio's messing up. Can you guys hear us okay?
Is it me?
I don't know. Do you have some background noise over there, or do you have your phone on? Sometimes when the phone is also on, it messes things up too.
I don't
turn it
hear
off.
Yeah, or maybe the sound off.
I don't know. It's pretty quiet here.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
All right, so you are a teacher. That is your that's your 9 to 5 is what I say. Your primary responsibility.
Yep.
Okay. How did you get to this point? First of all, when you were growing up, did you want to be a teacher?
What I did not know I wanted to be a teacher because growing up, there was a lot of lack of confidence because, coming to the US, 5 years old, not speaking a word of English, not hanging around with, a lot of English speaking people. I didn't know if I had it in me because, I was in ESL from kindergarten through 4th grade. And then English was always a challenge because it's such a complicated language. And to be a teacher, you have to, speak correctly, you got to have strong knowledge. And it wasn't natural, let's just say that way. Everything that we go through is not natural because a lot of us are like first generation. So if I had grandparents or in the US, that would have been easier, but it's like I'm like the first generation. So I have to learn everything on my own. So no, I didn't. But all I knew was that I love education. I love school. I love social studies. So that's all I knew. And then when I decided to go into education, which was not until like how people kind of like decide their senior year, I was still like up in the air, like what I wanted to do. But so I love school, like perfect attendance. This is how hardcore I am. I had perfect attendance from 5th grade to like high school. Like I didn't miss a day because I just love school that much. School was like my life. Because if you think about it, our parents always went to work. We were latchkey kids. We couldn't do any activities because they were, they had that mindset of like kids needed, girls needed to be home. Don't even think about doing anything extracurricular. You rather stay at home. They didn't realize that extracurricular actually builds you and teaches you other things, and it connects you to different people. It helps build your resume for scholarships. Our parents didn't understand that, so we sneaked a lot and do a lot of the clubs. Like I did badminton in high school. My parents, were like, they really didn't want us to do it, but then they had no choice because they were so overwhelmed and busy with working that they couldn't monitor. So I just kept doing it, So anyways, I took an education class at a community college, and I was like, man, if this class sucks, I'm done. I'm not teaching. You know what I mean? But I loved it. It was like everything that I dreamt of, like what a teacher, like teaching would be. And my teacher, number one, you got to have good teachers, and my college professor was amazing. So she made me fall in love more with teaching. And it wasn't even social studies. Social studies, I could always survive. It does not matter how good or bad the teachers were at the college level. I will survive any of the social studies class because I would just soak it in because, knowledge is power, right? You got to understand the past. So I'm all about, okay, what happened in the past? I soak that in. But just the teaching part really made me fall in love, like the education classes, the foundations of education, the methods, the teaching strategies. That's what I fell in love with. And still today, I am in love with that more. Like, hopefully someday I can teach at the college level, but I would love to teach how to teach. That's what I love because I've had like 3-4 student teachers already, teaching, 2 decades. And I love every student teachers that I've had. I love helping them be the best that they could be. So that's what I fell in love with. So and ever since I never turned back, and I still love what I'm doing, as much as, people say that teaching don't pay or how do you enjoy. I love it. This is something that I'm going to do until I'm ready to retire for sure. So
plus you get summer.
That's how I fell in love with it. It was it developed, but I knew I loved education. And then I just love social studies. That's the easiest for me to teach and the easiest to sell. Like I feel like I can get any of my students to love it, and I love it. And I think they see it. So I feel like I never struggled. That's just the way I saw it as. So that's my history there.
Now you, let's touch on the teaching part for a quick second. You teach seniors. which would seem to me to be one of the harder grades to teach, because let's be quite frank, when we're seniors, we think we know everything. We think that we have figured out the world. We know everything. Our parents are old and outdated, so they don't understand. So in that same ilk, my teacher, though I love her to death, she doesn't understand how it is nowadays, things of that nature. So do you see certain problems that maybe other grades don't see?
No, actually, I think it's a myth. I think teaching seniors like almost like the privilege. Like you got to get there to teach seniors. I think the hardest group are freshmen. I taught freshmen because I used to teach world affairs, and we used to teach American government at the freshman level because of the maturity. They're a little bit immature, still kind of like the junior high, middle school mindset. So they're a little like kind of crazy, like they have outbursts, and you're just like, what are you doing? So it's those little classroom behavior that interferes with the learning that I find I have to stop and like redirect a lot. So so freshmen were actually more of a struggle for me, but I still love teaching them. I love my course world affairs, but and they change, and I see it because then at one point I went from teaching freshmen to seniors, and I would literally have students that were like, Miss Al, I'm so sorry. I was a when I was a freshman. I go, it's okay.
Please
I
let
knew
me graduate, right?
Yeah. They're like, I knew you would change. I never hold grudges. That's why I'm a teacher. And students like you can't take things like personally. So I knew they would change. And then when they're seniors, they're like so quiet. They hardly say anything. I'm like, oh my gosh, you used to talk so much in class. I would tell you to be quiet, make you wait outside the room because you won't stop because you were just, I don't know what's going on with you, because that's how I would do something like time out. Like I think you need to wait outside the room because you're not like sitting still right now while I'm teaching. Now they don't even talk; they just take it all in. But I think your teaching strategy changes when you're working with seniors. Now you're more like a mentor. And this is my tip for anybody that struggles with any students. You gotta number one, let them know that you're on their side. That you're not out to get them. That you're here to help them. And once you have that under the belt and the trust is built, they will do anything for you because they know you got their back and you're there to help them. And that's one thing that I established right away with my students. Like, look, I'm not out there to get you. I want to help you. So if I may come strong on you and like you not doing your work, that's because I care. Obviously, I want you to turn in your work so you can get a better grade. How is that yelling at you?
Right.
So you just got to explain those things to them. And a lot of it's explaining, not just like turn in your work. Where's your work? I need your work now. Like it's just the way you say it to the kids, but you explain to them like, hey, I'm just communicating with you because I noticed that you miss a lot of work and I really need you to turn things in because you know what, report card progress report's coming up in 2 weeks and I really do want your parents to see that you got a D or an F in my class. How are they not gonna like not turn in their work because they know you're trying to help them? So number one, you gotta let them know you're on their side. So seniors are straight up like my favorite right now because they get it, but they just need some guidance and you're more like a mentor to them after that. Like after that. Yeah, I'm always going to teach my content, but I'm more of a mentor. Like I want to help you because you're going to be an adult soon and you're never going to have this undivided attention ever again. Because everyone knows that.
Right.
But, not just college professors, but college professors are like really intelligent, PhD. They don't go to school for teaching strategies. If you don't go to class, they don't care. They already got your money. We all know school is expensive. So they're not going to be like, hey, why didn't you come to class? Hey, you missed 5 classes, right? You might be failing, like they're gonna be like, oh, didn't show up. Okay, done. Like that's it. And I've been there. That's why I'm speaking that. I hope it changed. I haven't been in college in a long time, but I feel like they don't care. They already got your money, but with school, it's a public education. So we got to still help them pass no matter what.
So, okay. So it seems that you seem like a very caring and lenient teacher to a certain degree, but you're also a coach. Coach, sometimes you gotta light that fire. Do you take the same approach with coaching, or does it differ with coaching?
I think it's similar. It's similar because when it's competition, it's a little bit different because some people need a little bit more of that tough love. Right. So my coaching is a little bit more military in the beginning.
She said
a little bit.
Wow.
little bit
All right.
military. Ultimately, and just like anybody that know me, they know that my bark is worth my bite. It's just people, you got to lay it down, know that you're not messing around, that you're serious. So when I have standards for my practices and my drills and all that, it's just to make sure that they're in line, to be mentally tough. But after that, like, I don't like lose sleep if my girls lose a competition or they didn't play well, but I still got to be tough because, nobody likes losing, and losing's not fun. So everyone knows that when you're in sports, but yeah, I'm still flexible. No one really, you know, feel, I think, like they're being tortured at my practice or anything. They know it's all for their benefits. But I know at one time I was a little rough, with some athletes, and it is only when their character is questionable and they are making excuses. And this is the roughest I've probably been as a coach. I literally forfeited a game because I didn't like the attitude of my athletes.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, court. I said, and then I went to the other player and I said, you know what? I apologize, but my athlete can't compete against you right now because she don't have it. So you just won that game. She forfeited, and I kicked her off the court.
Wow.
And an L. We took an L for it. I was like, it's okay because she wasn't mentally prepared, So that's as far as I would go, and my athletes know that because number one is character. If you don't have the character to play, then you're off my court because it's all about your brand and your team and your school and yourself. So if you're ready to blame someone because you're losing, you're ready to make excuses that doesn't make sense and doesn't take accountability, you're off my court. Like, you're done. We'll take an L. I'll take an L, So
Right.
I took an L for her. But then, at the end we talked about it and she knew she was wrong. And she still was on the team later on, but it's a lesson. It's tough love. It's a lesson learned. But yeah, I ended the game right there. I was like, no, you're done.
All right.
You won.
So,
Congratulations. It was at my sister's school too, because I'm at Joliet Central, it was at Joliet West. I told the girl, you're done. I just said, my girl's done, so you go ahead and take that W.
wow. Wow. Yeah, and I believe coaching is an extension of teaching to a certain degree. So I can see that. So you're with the kids 9 to 5. You're with the kids after school coaching. All right, let's talk about MEOF, which is a MEGO. I'm sorry, which is another aspect of what you give back to the community.
Well, the evolution of this organization, of course, first we started out with Lao Youth Summer Camp, and then we went to MEOF because we wanted to be more inclusive in the name, because a lot of our, students were of all different backgrounds, like your children, multi-race. So we just thought the name would be more fitting. And then with, Multicultural Education Outreach Foundation, the name just became so big. And just like any organization, you got to transform, evolve, So it's almost like, like 2.0, like people evolve in technology. So we're now this multicultural education group. So to me, that was a blessing because for a while, our family, we were kind of like stuck in Joliet. Yeah, we had strong family connections up in Elgin, but we knew that our kids needed something cultural because it's very easy to be Americanized, because all around us is the American culture, right? But we also have to embrace our own culture, our own heritage. So when I saw on Facebook that they were hosting a Lao camp, right? I was like, oh yeah. So my husband, like, can you sign them up? Contact, and at that time was like Gate, on Facebook, we were friends, and then ever since then, we just been involved. So we're not like, I am definitely not like a founder or anything. I was just a very supportive, parent, devoted, and just impressed with the people that started the organization. So I'll name drop some here. Alun, Kate, Gate, Pitt, all of them. They all started that, and I might be missing some, but I mean, I'm so proud that they at least came up with it. And I think when I first came in, they were a little bit like, hey, sorry if this is not this, sorry that. I'm like, hey, first of all, don't apologize for anything. I'm just impressed that you guys even started this, camp that was 2 weeks. And we just fell in love with it. And since I had the summer off, I'm like, why can't I help? You know what I mean? So ever since then, I've been, I could say, addicted, to helping out. Do I get paid? No. Do any of us get paid? No.
Right.
Okay. If not, we put money in, and none of us even are rich enough to put money in and the time that we put in. But because, once again, we all love it so much. And I know, Laura, you've been involved in it. You never got paid. You know, it's just because you love it. You know what I mean? So that's why we still are committed. And of course, we're still evolving. We believe in growth. We believe in learning from mistakes. You know, we had our trials and tribulations, but that's what makes us great, because we don't give up. We're not going to give up when there's challenges, you know, because that's not what this organization is. Oh, it didn't work out. Oh, it's not rainbows and sunshines anymore. So let's, you know, stop. No, we're going to keep going. And this is the biggest trial and tribulation of all, the pandemic. You know, we were going 6, 7 years in a row, and all of a sudden we had to stop. You know, and it was heartbreaking, because a lot of our kids were used to this camp every, you know, July, 2 weeks of the summer, you know, the end of 2 weeks, you know, the last 2 weeks of July. A lot of our kids were committed to that, and we were committed. It was like an empty, like, feeling when we couldn't do it, and it's still empty right now, because, you know, we didn't have that. And then we had all these plans, and that had to stop. So right now, it's, you know, we still meet like in the past, you know, before December, we met like almost like every Thursday, crazily. And then we just actually took a break just this month, the past 2 months. But we just had our meeting like last Thursday. That's how committed this organization is, and the people involved. And like I said, without each individual people involved here that we have right now, I mean, we would not be where we are today. That's what makes this organization great, because it's involving so many different people with different skills and different talents, you know, and different hearts. So that's why, you know, I'm still involved in it.
So what is if you had to give a 60-second elevator pitch, or you had to tell someone what the gist of the organization or what the mission statement is, what would you say?
I would say that we are a multicultural education that focuses on embracing all culture, preserving all heritage. We're all about educating the youth, and we're about uniting community. That's what we are. So if you are a believer of those 4 mission, then this organization would be for you as well.
Yes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Now, you mentioned that your whole family is involved, but you have not mentioned your family. So why don't you give everybody a little brief introduction to your immediate family?
All right, absolutely. My pride and joy are definitely, you know, my 5 kids. As much as, you know, I talk about everything else, there's no denying that they're my life, you know, my soul. So I have 5 kids. The oldest is Landon. He will be 23. He's currently at a community college here in Joliet, majoring in operations engineering. He only has 2 classes left. He should be graduating this June. He's also a reservist in the National Guard. He goes training, you know, every month. And my kids are ROTC kids. I believe in the military. I believe in discipline. I believe in being patriotic. So to us, you know, being an ROTC at the high school level and then joining the Army is like a no-brainer. So we're all about that, you know. So he's in, so that's Landon, my oldest. Lauren's my oldest girl. She's next. She's currently at Lewis University with a full ride tuition, with ROTC tuition, of course. So we're very, very proud of her. She's also cheering at Lewis as well. Her major is chiropractic medicine. So that's my Lauren. I have 2 in high school right now. One of Lillian. She's my athlete. All of them are like my athlete, but Lily is like my, you know, volleyball superstar, my golf superstar, my badminton superstar, my basketball superstar. You know, I don't really brag about my kids like that, but since you asked me, and I'm gonna go all out like
No, you're supposed to brag.
Brag.
Everybody brag different. You're supposed to brag.
So she's definitely, you know, hardcore athlete in the family. She's only like 5'1", but you know, she gives it her all, and no matter, you know, what she tries out for, she makes it. Even though I sometimes have doubt, and she'd be like, "So you didn't think I could make it?" I was like, "Well, you know, you're 5'1". It's pretty competitive." I'll say things like that, you know. But she makes it. But yeah, she's a junior right now, at Joliet Central High School. And then my Leighton, he's a freshman. He's, a lot of people like kind of forget about him, but he's kind of like, he's my quiet kid, very 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 quiet, you know, to himself. But he's a golfer, you know, so that's what he's doing. And I think he's signing up for bowling right now. Once bowling gets started, he'll be doing that. but he's doing good right now, virtual learning. I was a little concerned at first, but he's doing all right. And then my youngest, everyone knows Mr. Personality, Lawson. All right. Yeah, Lawson, that's my youngest. He's the one that always throws a little curveball on everything that we do, but he has a great heart. He's the only one that keeps up with the family. In terms of, like, someone's missing, he's like, "Where's Lauren? Where's Landon?" I love his thoughtfulness. But yeah, he's great. He's always like in his Zoom. He's pretty independent. Even though he runs his mouth a lot, he's a good kid. He's a good student. So really proud of all my kids. All very active. All very active. So that's the way I like it. Anyways, that's their life. They should focus on school and they should focus on their activities. Their full-time job. I know some parents like, have your kids work and do this. I'm like, no, my kid's full-time job is, going to school, doing activities. I don't want nothing else. I want them doing that all day, every day, and then they just come home to eat and sleep. That's just the way I work. Yeah.
Makes sense. Now you didn't.
That's all about my husband, right? That's all about Lon.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't leave out your. I'll say your other half because I say better.
My better half. All right, Lon, AKA trophy husband, right? Is that what everyone knows?
All right.
Oh yeah, that's so Lon. He's right now, Mr. Homemaker and my dietitian. Pretty much without him, I probably would not have lost the weight that I've lost. He keeps, the house in line, the home, the food, the kids. When I'm at work, because I go to school, I know people have options of doing virtual learning at home or at school. I go to school, so he takes care of the kids at home, making sure they're doing their homework, logging in. So he's my lifesaver in that way, being at home. So yeah, that's my trophy husband. All he does is cook. So definitely different than a lot of people used to. But yeah, that's Lon. Yep.
All right. Okay. How long have you guys been together?
Oh gosh, you want to go that far back? All right. So Lon, we've been dating since I was 15. So yeah, I'm going to be 43 next month. So we've been together for a very long time. My only love, my one and only love, my everything sweetheart. So yeah, 15 since I was 15 years old, been married for about 23 years, however old Landon is. All right. That's how long we've been married. Yeah. So that's how long we've been together. He's from Elgin, I'm from Joliet. Our relationship was a secret for a long time until I pretty much, got pregnant. That's pretty much when my parents like, yeah, you have a significant other. Okay. So that's how it went because, my parents are very strict. Yes. But we always wanted to be together. And I think Landon definitely was the one that finally made us, finally be together and be in the open. So the best thing that ever happened. But yeah, I've been with Lon for, since I was 15 years old.
15.
Let me just start out by saying that, number one, this is live and it's taped so people can see it again and again. So you have just banked yourself major brownie points, okay? So anytime he's mad or you want him to do something, people like, do you remember when I was on Laura and Marcelo's podcast and I just, told everybody how much
awesome
you mean to me? That is bargaining chips in the future. I just want to throw that out.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so let's kind of diverge a little bit. You are like the perfect guest because of everything going on political in the world. We can get someone who is well versed and not getting their information from Facebook memes on what they think about our political climate. We try to be bipartisan to the most degree as far as this podcast is concerned, because we don't want to alienate anyone as far as giving their true thoughts, being free and open to discuss things without thinking that you are going to be persecuted anyway. So we try to keep things as bipartisan as possible. Let me ask you, what do you think about the confusion with the counting of the votes and the presidency and going to Biden and Trump not having faith in the electoral process? What are your thought process? What are your thoughts on that?
well, I could say like, wow, that's a lot of stuff there that we could talk about for sure. And
Yes.
I could say that being a government teacher, I just feel very blessed to be able to teach some of the current events. Of course, you don't have to focus on my content, but I sometimes, for a whole day, we be off track and focus on current event. For example, the January 6th, whether you call it protest, riot, insurrection, depending who you are, you're going to have a different description of that event. But to
Sure.
me, everything happens for a reason, and I'm an optimist because number one, we are the greatest country in the world. Okay, still today, no matter the situation, we are the best country in the world economically, politically, socially.
I
We're
agree.
going to have our challenges, we're going to have our struggles, but what country doesn't have that? And people have to also keep in mind that we are also one of the youngest countries in the world. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and we rose to power like really fast too. Okay. And we're going to have some or make some mistakes. If you look at our history, there were many, many mistakes and we all learn from them. And with the whole election, fraud or controversy, they're all legitimate. I mean, it's something to look at because number one, elections controlled by the state is not uniform.
Right.
Okay. So every state has their own election process. Some states allow, same day registration. Some states don't. Some states have polling here. Some states don't have polling there. Some close at 7. Some close at 8. Okay, there's tremendous inconsistency. So how are Americans going to have faith in that system when it's not consistent? I'm just saying. I can understand why some people are debating, the whole election process. Okay,
Mhm.
so I think it's just a wake up call of maybe we need to clean it up. Okay, and I think you already heard my opinion about the electoral college. I know some people still say keep it, it's not broken, why change it? But to me, what's wrong with direct election as well? What's wrong with having someone, win based, on just a popular vote? Why
Right.
do we have to be checked? I get it. That's what our founding fathers wanted in the past. But I think we're a little bit different now. I think people are all a little bit educated to make decisions. And then you have the debate about like, oh, then it undermines the smaller populated states. But then we always operate on majority rule.
Yes.
So and we don't operate on land masses. When people look at the electoral map, they're like, oh my gosh, look at all this area shaded red, shaded blue. I go, okay, they just got to shade it, but over there is just cows and grass and stuff. It doesn't mean that they're people. So like even the
Right.
state of Illinois, we all know like the majority of the population is up north, right? But we also have people down south, and people like, well, most of the people down south are red, or conservatives. I'm like, well, there's some, liberals down there too. It's just they gotta shade that whole area red because it's land mass,
Right.
and they're just gonna cover it up. But anyway, so I get the whole debate, and I think that was just a wake up call. So even though it turned ugly, what happened in the Capitol building, it was a wake up call that yeah, maybe we do need to fix it. Maybe it's a legitimate argument that there's some voter fraud. I don't think our system will ever be perfect because we're such a huge country. We have 50 states that believe in 50 different things. So you got to look at respecting state rights as well. Also, to illegitimize, like make it illegitimate, like not count the votes doesn't make sense either. Because if you think about it, if Trump said his votes didn't count, then what about the other people on that ballot? Then that means we're going to throw out everybody's ballots that's
Right.
on there. Does that make sense? Because it's not just his name when people voted. They voted for senators, reps, every judges, everybody's on that ballot too. So if his doesn't count, then nobody else counts. So why isn't everybody else speaking up too? So
Right.
I think that the states did the best that they could, just like the other past years. So to say that whether Biden steal the election or whatever is like, I don't know, that's too much, because then you're saying that you're blaming the 50 states for not running the election process properly, and that is an insult to the state workers and the election board commission that work their butts off. Because I know I've been there where they were helping people at 8 o'clock at night for early voter registration. They did what they could, the best as they could, with the tremendous voter turnout that we had, which is a great thing, by the way. Having the voter turnout for this election, the 2021, that was a big deal. So So that's my take on the voter fraud. Like, I think it's a wake up call. Yeah, we need to fix it, but I don't think the election was not legitimate. I think it was legitimate, just like any other year was legitimate. Okay, so that's my take on that one. The inauguration, Biden being president, Kamala Harris being VP, the first, African American, South Asian. I mean, that's definitely historical and something that our nation should be proud of, regardless of your political party affiliation. So to me, that's very powerful, and it's okay to have transition or a power and changes. Why aren't people getting over this? So I've been teaching government for you could say 20 years. Okay, I've been teaching under different administrations, from Republicans to Democrats. Okay, and I survived all those years. Okay, and it's really not politics, right? Because you can have people come in and say, "Oh, your view's this, your view that," And I've always told my students, number one, okay, country over party. Okay, country over party. If you always think like a Democrat or Republican all the time, you're never going to survive. You got to think about what's best for this country. If you're going to pick a side, I always tell them, pick the human side. Which side protects human the most? All human beings. Which one makes all human beings feel good? If there's a side that didn't do that, I don't know you want to be on that side. That's all I would say. You want to also be on the right side of history. And right now, some people think they might be on the right side of history, but you don't know. Look at the civil rights era. How many people screamed at Black kids for trying to go to school? Number one is Black kids trying to go to school, and you're yelling at her, stopping her. They had to call the National Guard. She thought she was on the right side of history, but now the calendars don't say that. I always bust out my civil rights calendar to my students and I go, "You want to look like this?" So even the people that are like rioting, protesting, I go, "You want to be on this calendar?" Because they thought what they were doing was right. But look at the side they picked. They were on the wrong side. So you better be careful which side you pick. I said, but no matter what, trust your human feelings, trust your gut feeling, your compassion for other human beings, and then you would never be on the wrong side. So that's what I tell my students. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, because I teach political parties too. And one thing people need to understand, the political parties that we have currently in the United States, and we're not talking about third parties, but the main ones, Democrats and Republicans, they have the same goals, same dream, same vision for America, okay? But it's just the process of how they want to do it is different. That's what people need to understand. It's just social media and some people that are maybe uneducated just give these political parties bad reputation. But ultimately, in the end, Republicans and Democrats, they have the same goals. They want what's best for our country economically, politically, socially. It's just the way they do things might be different. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what political party you belong to, as long as they're doing the right thing and protecting human beings. I'm good. That's the way I tell my students. So yeah, I'm excited for the transition of power, the changes, and even when Trump became president, I'm like, hey, let's give a businessman a try. Somebody that was not a career politician, let's give it a try. And that's what's great about our country. Presidents only serve 4-year terms. So if you're not happy with this Biden, okay, vote him out.
Right.
Just like if you weren't happy with Trump, vote him out. Okay, they only can be reelected one time, 8 years max. What's the problem, America? You act like it's the end all be all. Okay, so that's how I operate. It's we're like, get over it, move on. Okay, and then to wish this presidency doom, no, then you're not very patriotic. Don't wish anybody doom. We're all in this together. Okay, it doesn't matter when Trump was president. I didn't wish doom on him. I don't want doom on Biden either, for sure. Okay, so for people to say, watch, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's wrong. That's so unpatriotic to me. So when I give lectures like that, I think people go like, I don't know, how can you be mad at me? I'm straight up American, straight up patriotic. I'm just saying I want what's best for this country. You're going to get mad at me for saying that? Sorry, I'm not going to call people names. Sorry, I'm not going to pick sides. All I care about is like, let's just make sure that we treat all human beings right. That's all that matters. Let's protect everyone, and then we're all good.
Yeah, those are very powerful words. I can honestly say that I'm neither Republican or Democrat. What's best for me and mine, and then to a greater extent my community, is what I strive to kind of back and highlight. Now, full disclosure, in the past, I believe I have been more in line with what Democrats have been saying as opposed to Republicans. But to that end, I don't think Republicans are out to get us and out to control the world or anything like that. I just think it's brothers who have two different opinions about the same subject. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there. With a new administration coming in, and being not only an educator, but someone who is educated on political aspects, what would you like to see from the new administration coming in?
From the new administration, for sure, just the healing of the American people, because I feel some people don't feel represented and don't feel like they're protected, so if we can unify and heal people and make everyone feel welcome and safe, then that would be great. And I think he's starting to do that, Biden, okay? Because as of right now, he's issuing some executive orders. Usually the president will make laws, but this is the closest that they can make laws is issuing executive orders, part of their powers, So I think he's gonna reinstate DACA. He's uniting families, immigrant families, granting citizenship to the 11 million illegal immigrants that have been here, paying taxes, living, like just a lot of those things. I think he's going to lift the ban on Muslims, coming to the U.S. So those are just some of the groups that did feel a little not protected, that are now going to feel like, okay, protected. But there's also the other side, the ones that maybe think that they're going to be left behind, maybe the Trump loyalists, we got to bring them back too. We got to protect them and make them feel like their opinions and voices, whatever, matter as well. So and to them, it could be religious protection, it could be gun protection, it could, gun rights, it could be, businesses, whatever it is, so it's a lot of work for the Biden administration, but you got to give them a chance, like any president that comes into office, you got to give them a chance to fix the problem, look at the problem. We're not going to fix our country overnight, for sure. It took us a while to get here. It's probably going to take us a while to fix it. If you look back at the Obama administration, he promised a universal health care plan. It took him 8 years. You can't get this stuff done even sometime in one term. So, but at least the healing can start, the unifying can start. Let's just all find a way to work with each other and not, like accuse, name call, do all that ugly stuff. That is not going to get anywhere. Let's just try to find solutions. So I hope he just starts working on those things, and I think he will, because looking at his team, they look like they're a good team. Nothing's been confirmed yet with his 15 cabinets. I only saw one name that I recognize, and that was Pete. Is it Buttigieg or from Indiana that also ran for the presidency? But he got appointed, but still got to be confirmed, by the Senate. So we'll see how it goes, and that's why the president has advisors. Hopefully, they can move him in the right direction. Even though he has a wealth of knowledge, along with Miss Harris and all that. So they have a great team. So I'm optimistic, about the whole process. But it's also in the hands of Congress too. A lot of the laws are made by Congress, so it's in their hands as well. And of course, a lot of people are worried if you're not, a Democrat, they don't think that they can get things done. But currently, the Democrats control the House, and we have a 50-50 of the at the Senate. But our vice president is a Democrat, so she will break that tie and will side with the Democrats, so the Democrats can prevail in that area. So whatever laws they want to make, it is kind of like in the hands of the Democrats.
Those are very powerful. We've had a few guests on, but I must say that your timing is perfect, especially with the wealth of knowledge that you have. So we would like to thank you for coming on and being with us. We'll definitely have you back and your better half. What we're going to do, we're trying to get some things together where we're doing some couple games and question and answer and things of that nature. So we have a few things in the works for this new year, but
Maybe around Valentine's.
That's possible.
Ooh, that's cute.
But what I did want to say is that if someone wanted to contribute or help out or do anything to help with your nonprofit organization, how would they go about doing that and contacting you guys?
All right. Well, good question there. Well, first of all, we do have a website, is MEOF, still our original name, MEOF.org. You could donate through there, or you could just contact one of us. You know, there's a lot of us, so I'll name drop some of the people in our organization. You know, we have Alun, we have Kate, we have Bird, we have Lily, Nina, Amy, Lo, so Lon. So you could contact any of us. And sometimes we're not about money, we're just about time. You know, 'cause time is as valuable. So you can give time to, you know, be a presenter, time to lead a class at our summer camp, time to help, you know, cook food for the kids. Any of that is valuable to us. So it's not always about money, it's about your time too. So if you are interested in doing any of those things, you know, contact one of us. We also have a Facebook page. You know, look for us, you know, and you could follow us in all the activities that we do. Because we, you know, we're very, very open, and we're always looking for fresh ideas, fresh people. So yeah, join us, come bring your kids. We look forward to, you know, this summer, hopefully it can happen, but we'll see, you know, because health first, you know, safety first.
Yes. And what is the Facebook page that they can go to?
They could just search it. It's Multicultural Education Outreach Foundation. So MEOF, and it should show up as well. Yep.
It still says MEOF. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, once again, thank you very much. Very, very informative session that we had today. We got taught about politics without even paying, so we just got a free education there. That's definitely something that we want to thank you for. And like I said, we want to have you back on. Thank you for everything that you do in the community. As we've said many times over, this podcast is to dispel some of the myths about minorities in America, to highlight community leaders, role models, entrepreneurs in our own community, as opposed to just looking at the athletes and the celebrities that we see. But we have people that should be honored right here in our own community. So for that, we thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for having me on.
Good. Thank you very much, Lisa. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. That was a very, very good. I mean, it was perfect timing for us to have her on, because she had a wealth of knowledge as far as politics, as far as you know, the education of our youth. And it sometimes it's just good to have a perspective that's not on, you know, necessarily one side or the other, but just wants what's best for everybody and kind of gives their thought process on that. As I just said to Lisa, once again, the reason why we're here is just to shed some light on things, talk about current events, make sure that everybody's voice is heard, number one, but number two, also to shed light that if you're looking for people to look up to and people to admire, it's fine for celebrities and athletes and things of that nature, that you can do that, but also understand that there are people right here in your own community who are role models, community leaders, entrepreneurs, people who are out there and bettering our community as a whole. Small community, which is in your state, large community, which is the United States. I mean, we're all citizens of the United States. So let's give some props to people who, you know, aren't making millions of dollars, but, you know, are doing this with their own time, with their own money to better our way of life. So in that regard, thank you guys for joining us. We love to have you guys every Wednesday. We've gotten a tremendous response. So we're going to keep going until you guys kind of give us the nudge that we should be doing this anymore. Right. But thank you guys very much. Sweetheart, you got anything to say?
No, you pretty much summed it up. We'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. live right here. Peace.